time, everybody, and welcome to the Jersey Shore podcast. Today, we've got a packed show from breaking news to topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified of upcoming episodes. If you like what the Hammer talked about, then share the Jersey Shore podcast to others. Damon also looks forward to your comments during this episode. Tonight's Jersey Shore podcast starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Jersey Shore podcast. That is S-U-R-E because we are always shore. Brought to you by the Great America's Pulse Network. And I have a special guest, hasn't been on in a while. I'll introduce him in a bit. First, I want to get to the breaking news. Something just happened today it was in Nevada. So I'm going to just play this clip for you real quick and talk about it.
The driver of this vehicle is identified as 23-year-old Dawson Maloney of Albany, New York. Here's a brief video of that vehicle crashing through the gate. You'll see on the monitor to my left, you'll see the vehicle approach. Now the second video you'll watch from the right, you'll see the vehicle crashed right through the gate into the power facility. At approximately 1 p.m., LVMPD was notified and our counterterrorism section responded to assist. Upon arrival, officers observed, obviously, the broken perimeter fence, consistent with the vehicle being intentionally driven through it, a debris field leading to the silver Nissan Sentra bearing New York license plates. The vehicle was stopped against large industrial wire reels, as you can see in the photograph to my left. And as they got closer, they observed a deceased male subject in the driver's seat with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head.
So that is something that just happened today, just a few hours ago. I don't know all the details on it yet. It just popped up and I saw this breaking news. I don't know what it's about. It was a younger guy, about 23 years old. He's from New York and had a lot of weapons in his car and decided to drive through like a substation plant out in Nevada. So we'll report on that later. I just wanted to put it out there because it was breaking news. So with that, I'll go into what we're going to be talking about tonight. So tonight on Jersey Shore, we have a lot to get into because the hits just keep coming. First, this is also breaking news out of Washington. The Supreme Court just stepped in and ruled against the use of emergency powers to powers for broad tariffs. This is a big one because, we're going to break down what the court actually said, what it means for presidential authority, and why this fight is now heading straight back to Congress, where constitutionally speaking, a lot of people argue it belonged there all along. So we'll separate the legal reality from the political spin, then we'll bring it home to New Jersey because our great governor, because while Washington is making headlines, Trenton is busy. Governor Sherrill's executive order limiting cooperation around immigration enforcement is now in effect, and Democrats in the legislature are continue pushing policies that critics say will move New Jersey closer to a full sanctuary state status. And we know where that's going to go. The Democrats are going to kill the midterms because Trump's already threatening to pull federal funding for sanctuary states that will not work with the federal government and ICE. So we're going to walk through that, exactly what these measures do, who they impact, and what it could mean for taxpayers and public safety here in the Garden State. And finally, tonight, we zoom out and ask a bigger question. When you look at the border, cost of living, energy policy, crime policy, and the direction of federal spending, are we watching smart governance or the slow erosion of the strongest nation on earth? And that's what we're seeing. And I'm not saying it's under Trump. I'm just talking about what the Democrats are doing in blue states. So I'll give you my take on what many Americans feel this country is heading in the wrong way, and what it has to change to turn it around. So strap in. This is the Jersey Shore. So let's bring on our special guest.
Hello there, everybody. How are we doing today? Damon, it's a pleasure to be back here on the Jersey Shore, and yeah, a lot of crazy things happening in the United States, and not just the United States itself, but also the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, you're right. Well, this is our special guest, Blake Przybyszewski. So
yeah, it's all good. I got you.
Blake said to me a long time ago. So he was like, "You don't want to pronounce my name right," but with the way it's spelled, it's Przybyszewski.
Yeah.
But no, I figured I'd go with that one this time. She was like, "You got to sure I got my last name right." I'm like, "Yeah, you told me what it was. I would never pronounce myself right."
You know what? I've been around so many people where they've tried to pronounce, like, I've told them it multiple times and they always mess up to the point where I'm like, I'm not even going to get mad at it anymore. So, but I
don't even get mad when people call me Damien. You know, it's like, it's been so long. It's like, all right, whatever. You know, it's Damon, but okay.
Yeah.
So Blake, what do you think about the Supreme Court ruling today on the tariffs?
I believe personally it throws a little bit of it just throws some hurdles in front of President Trump. I mean, one of the things that was talked about, Damon, is that, you know, there are other laws and acts in place that still allow him to actually implement the tariffs. This specific Supreme Court ruling was allowing him to place tariffs under the International Emergency Economics Power Act, which can only be activated within a state of emergency. Now, Damon, if you know me and you know how I originally got involved in this, while it is sad that Trump can necessarily go and, you know, just put whatever tariff on any country, I ultimately support this. And the reason why I support this is because I'm not a fan of the executive branches in government having more power than they need to because of enacting some sort of emergency powers. What I mean by that is, for example, back in 2020, when COVID-19 happened and Governor Phil Murphy decided, okay, we're going to declare a state of emergency. That went on, believe it or not, until I think it was the election of last year, way before, way after COVID was done, where he could, he thought he was the king and he could do anything and everything. And in a state like New Jersey, that's extremely problematic because New Jersey, basically, if you really think about it, Damon, we do not have all three branches of government that represent New Jersey. We only have two, which is the executive and the legislative, because our judges are picked by the governor and he can pick anybody who he wants. So any chance that we could, take anybody from the executive off of their pedestal, whatever the case may be, or, try to prevent anything in the future that could happen if somebody were to invoke emergency powers, I'm all a big fan for. Now, on the other flip side, real quick, the actual tariffs itself. So for a country like Canada, this might be good news for them, but I hate to say it, but to all our Chinese viewers out there, unfortunately, it's a bad day for them in Jinping because Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1970, or excuse me, I was wrong. Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 permits tariffs in response to unfair foreign trade practices, one of these being intellectual property theft. Now, if you know anything about China's tech sector, Damon, a lot of the technology and the patents and the information that they have, they've actually stolen that from American companies, believe it or not. They are notorious. So when companies go over to China to manufacture, they actually steal, their ideas and their products and their patents, whatever the case may be. That's why you see like a lot of Apple iPhone clones in China, but they call it something else. So
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, you kind of stole the words out of my mouth too about it should have been in the hands of Congress. You can't enact an emergency, they call it the IEP, whatever, IEP, whatever it is, and he went about it the wrong way. But still, there are many ways that he can still do tariffs, and just having that, especially in peacetime. So the president has more authority during wartime to do things like this, but this is what he can do. And I want to, before I roll this clip, I just want to let everyone know that's watching, whether Rumble, Facebook, X, YouTube, go in that chat box and you can ask a question, make a statement. We'll see it right here on the screen. So, and make sure you like and subscribe on whatever social media platform you're on. But I'm going to play this clip by Trump. This was after the ruling by the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. The good news is that there are methods, practices, statutes, and authorities, as recognized by the entire court in this terrible decision, and also as recognized by Congress, which they refer to, that are even stronger than the IEEPA tariffs available to me as President of the United States. Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries. And
so, yeah, there's ways to get around it, and I agree with what you said in the beginning of your statement. It should have been in the hands of the Congress. I mean, Congress is there because tariffs are taxes, and Congress handles that. Congress have, they handle the purse, and that's what they were created for. And that's why they only have 2-year terms. You can run consecutively, but I'm not going to get into term limits. I believe we should have that, but yeah, the reason why it was 2 years is because if they're screwing up, the money of the United States, and you could vote them out before they do a lot of damage. That was kind of what it was made for. But yeah, so it looks like he's going to implement that, and it's going to be 10% above, and he can do that legally under those statutes. But yeah.
That one is interesting, though, him imposing Section 122, because that comes from the Trade Act of 1974 as well. But what's funny about that is it authorized, so it's a temporary tariff. It's not permanent, up to 15%, which I'm actually kind of shocked he didn't go to the max 15 and he just went to 10. But what's interesting about that one is that it's limited to 150 days, and it requires congressional approval or extensions. So this is eventually something that's going to have to go to the House if they want to go ahead and extend it. So, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, I guess he's taking what he can get for now. I mean, I always thought it should be in the hands of Congress. I understood what the goal was, and I understood it was to be aggressive, and I was with it. Yeah, I was saying, okay, yeah, you want to roll out, what was that? What do you call it? The tariff. What was it called? The tariff something day when he unveiled it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking. I'm like, whoa, like he's really going hard on a lot of countries. But then I realized what it was. It was just a scare tactic, a negotiating tactic. So I realized what it was. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll roll with it. It didn't hurt the stock market at all. Even though the stock market it did go up and down here and there because no one knew exactly what was going to go on. But even today, on the stock market, it dipped and then came right back up.
I think the Dow hit 50,000 for the first time not too long ago. So
yeah,
the long-term trend is it just keeps going up and up and up. So
Liberation Day, Loverton said, "Thank you, Liberation Day." That's what it was. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. We're it's some weird times right now. It really is. But the thing is, you don't want to give too much executive power out there, because if we do that, I don't want the Democrats to have it. If you were to change, it's just like getting rid of the filibuster. I don't think we should get rid of the filibuster, even though it's screwing up a lot of things that we want to get passed through Congress. But if the Democrats take over Congress or Senate and executive branch, whatever it might be, and there's no filibuster, then they have free reign to do whatever they want. So I don't think anyone should have free reign. I think the filibuster is actually a good move. It's a good check and balance there. even though you might not get your way half the time and it drags things out, but maybe that was the point.
I'll be honest with you, Damon. I disagree with that. I think we should nuke the filibuster, because here's the problem, right? As far as the Senate is concerned, in my lifetime, I don't believe I've ever seen either party have 60 or more Senate seats, basically, in the Senate. It's always been, for the most part, half and half. It either swings a little bit Republican or swings a little bit Democrat. And because of that, government is already slow. The last thing we need to do is to make it slower. And I understand that, it's there to prevent, one party from, enacting whatever the heck that they want, whatever the case may be. As long as we protect our elections, and I believe that's it for the most part, I really don't see a problem with it, because if the party in power in all three branches is the one that's dictating everything and they screw up, then the people are going to remember that next election cycle and they're going to vote them all out. It's going to swing to the other party.
That's a good way of putting it. I mean, I don't know. I think when it comes to government, especially a country this size and this powerful, I think you need your checks and balances. You can't rush to something, because when somebody gets in there and they have an idea, it's like the Green New Deal they were trying to shove down our throats. It was a bad idea, but it just, someone can come up with an idea and you can have control of, all three branches, and then just say, okay, we're just ram this through. And then if it is a huge mistake, yeah, you're going to vote them out, but then you got to clean up the mess afterwards. I mean, look at the mess we had to clean up from Biden, and people just voting for him. And everything.
I also think too, if the Republicans nuke the filibuster, and specifically, and they can pass everything that they want to pass through, then I don't think the Democrats, quite frankly, under their current ideology, or whatever you want to call that, have no chance in hell in winning, to be brutally honest with you. Because when you put in the voter ID, you put in the laws that protect ICE and make them go after the illegal immigrants and everything else. I mean, their voter base is basically done for after that. So now they can't import voters. Now they have to actually, actually appeal to Americans.
So it's a good point. I hear you there. No, it's a very good point. And something just popped up, some kind of breaking news, said a car just slammed in Australia's biggest synagogue. So, and anybody that's watching, if you can look it up, or a producer throw it on there, we'll take a quick break and we'll see what it is. It just popped up on my screen, so I don't know anything about it. It just says it. So let's just take a quick break, and we'll be back.
Hey, it's great to be on with you. This is a great podcast. It's a lot of fun, and it's informative, and it's real information. It's none of the frills and none of the nonsense that you hear on the legacy media. Just telling the story of what's happening right now. It's what I do with my newsletter that I get out to anybody who wants to see it. It's what you're doing with this podcast. America needs to know what the real deal is, and you're the real deal.
Thank you. That's my boy Jeff Andrew. I like that plug. Appreciate it. So Jeff is awesome. I didn't think, when I asked him to come on, he was like, sure. And I didn't think he was going to give me a full 32-minute interview. I thought it was going to be, like it does on Fox, goes on for 5-7 minutes or something like that. But it was a great interview, and Jeff's a great guy. So thank you, Jeff, for that. I appreciate it. So I don't know. We'll see what would happen with that synagogue thing. I just, like I said, popped up on my laptop. I just saw it in the corner of the screen. So we'll figure out what it is. We'll report on it as soon as we know. But this Hammer segment. Oh, wait, I don't think I even see. We call it the Hammer segment now because Seth calls me the Hammer all the time.
Okay.
So I had to make this golden hammer.
Okay.
So because that's why we call it Hammer segments, because it's a long-standing joke with Seth. I call him the pirate. He calls me the Hammer. So I bought him these little blow-up swords and stuff like that.
Okay.
Pirate swords. But yeah, so that's, everybody listen, that's why it's called Hammer segment, because of our old boy Seth there. So this one is New Jersey sanctuary, but not for citizens. So I wanted to talk about, I mentioned in the monologue about like Cheryl and her executive orders saying that ICE, local authorities can't work with ICE in any public park or public setting, whatever it may be. It restricts ICE from entering are using non-public areas of New Jersey state property without judicial warrant. So that was their executive order. So it pushes like a state reporting portal for residents to upload info on ICE activity to the Attorney General's office. So New Jersey tax dollars actually get redirected from core services, including an ICE reporting bureaucracy, instead of fixing affordability, schools, and public safety. So they're shifting money to actually block ICE and spending the money there instead of taking care of the things they need to. So, I mean, it's the federal government sees New Jersey as a hostile territory, while New Jersey politicians get to claim public safety without owning the downstream consequences. So, and it signals to the country, New Jersey is putting up guardrails against immigration enforcement, and it's a magnet message when working families are already feeling squeezed. It's crazy. I mean, people that live here and work for a living and are born here or citizens, it feels like you're not. It feels like you're not a citizen. It's like they're priority. We're going to spend money. We already spend $7.3 billion on them. So I'll get into that in a minute. So first, let's play this first clip and then respond to it.
Now pushback coming from the Sherrill administration, the governor announcing a three-pronged executive order to curb ICE activities and to help people know their rights in ICE-involved incidents.
First, I'm signing an executive order to ban ICE from launching actions from any state property. That means no ICE staging areas, no processing locations, no operating bases, no federal civil immigration actions run from any state grounds, not our parks, not our roadways, not our buildings.
The state has also launched an online portal asking New Jerseyans to record and upload any ICE encounters they see to the site. And third, a Know Your Rights website with information in 22 languages is available at nj.gov/knowyourrights.
But when law enforcement officers, including federal agents, violate our laws, they violate the trust the community places in law enforcement as a whole.
All right, Blake. I mean, you know what I'm going to say about that. I want to hear what you have to say. What you have to say about that.
I love when they put these blanket statements out saying that, it violates our laws. What laws are they violating? You always hear the what. You never hear the why when it comes to these people. And that's what really frustrates me about this is you're throwing out all these blanket statements, all these PR buzzwords, and you're not providing any actual context behind what you're trying to say. Do I think, and I'll be honest with you, Damon, do I think that the onboarding for ICE agents is extremely fast compared to, say, our law enforcement agents? Respectfully, I do, to an extent. There's only so much you can train an individual before you put them on, a job like that. And ultimately, an ICE agent, if you really think about it, right, has a lot of the same responsibilities as almost a police officer does when it comes to, arresting individuals and, pulling them over, looking at whatever the case may be, right? Do I think that there's a lot of bad eggs out there that are like, rah, 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 I'm going to go in and, throw them all in jail or whatever? I do think those people exist. I'm not saying they aren't. But I think the way that the Democrats are painting it is that all of them are bad, which is not the case whatsoever. And I really don't like these blanket statements that she's making. Like, it really bothers me. But I digress.
No, and the thing is, it's a recipe for disaster, and it's they're putting the ingredients in it, the Democrats, because they know that ICE agents and even when they bring in border control to help out in these cities because they were getting overwhelmed with all these protesters and people going after them. That's not. I mean, sure, as a part of their training in some way, shape, or form, yeah, but that's not what their goal, their job is. It's to have a mission to go and find somebody, get them, and deport them. Not to have crowd control, not to have frozen water bottles thrown at them, not to have cars trying to run them over. Correct. And when the local police are told they're not allowed to work with the federal police, then the local police know how to do crowd control. They know their area. They know the people, even for the most part. They might go there and say, hey, say Renee, move your car, please, because we know who you are. I'm just saying, let's use an example. But they might know the people and they can handle it better. But when they're told to stand down and not help them out, these guys are going into a city that they never really may not have even been to before, but they definitely don't know how everything works.
And that's what's backwards about it, right? Is that you're absolutely right. If I remember correctly, and Damon, please help me jog my memory, she had put something out, or somebody had put something out about having local police not help with ICE. If I remember that correctly, I forget where it was, which doesn't make any sense, because if you're trying to make sure that these people are the citizens are safe, or not the citizens, excuse me, but the individuals in question, don't get hurt or don't get killed, whatever the case may be, having the police go in there, find these people, and then deliver them to ICE as safe as possible is the best possible thing you could do, instead of just throwing ICE to the dogs, right? Not knowing who this individual is, whether or not they are a murderer, or they're brandishing a weapon, or if they got multiple people with them that could potentially, cause a shootout, whatever the case may be. That's what I love about this just backwards logic that these people have. So,
yeah. Well, no, I see the comment by Loverton up there mentioned this was always going to be ugly. ICE didn't have the staff to report 30 million migrants. No, they did not. I mean, we knew it was going to be ugly. We knew it was going to be tough. But the way I see it with the Democrats in these blue cities and sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, saying that law enforcement is not allowed to work with them, they know what's going to happen. They wanted it to happen. They wanted Renee Good to get shot, not personally, but they wanted a situation like that. They the other guy that was shot in Minnesota too. They want these things to happen so they can grandstand on it. And when they want to stand there, oh, look, see what happened? Well, you could have prevented it. You shouldn't have said, go out and put the cameras in their face, like Tim Walz said, and record them. Like Cheryl just said it, report ICE, record them where they're at and all this stuff. So they're telling citizens, when you're an elected official, and you're telling citizens it's okay to go do this, you know that something's going to happen. And I truly believe that they're waiting for something to happen, because as soon as it happens, they can pounce on it and say, see, they have to get out of here. We're keeping all the illegal immigrants here. Because the reason why they want, and everyone knows this for sure, 100%, the reason why they want them here is to vote. They want to stay in power. That's exactly why they want them here. And it's the writing's on the wall. And I just tell people all the time, like, they're playing around with people's lives, because that means they don't care about you. They're a soulless party. And that's what they are. They don't want to represent their constituents. They care about power, and they don't care about throwing you, in front of a bus, to stay in power, just to use your name and grandstand on your grave. That's what I believe.
And I agree with you. My thing is that what I really don't like about this, and again, it's politics, so they're always going to make everything black and white, right, with every single situation. Ultimately, let's go back to common sense. Here's how it should work. I mean, at the end of the day, you have your local police. Your local police tells ICE, hey, these are where these individuals are. We have it on good authority that they're illegal immigrants. The police should go. The police should find these people. The police should escort them out of the building, and then they should hand them over, or wherever their house or whatever, and then should hand them over to ICE. That way you don't have an incident where, ICE is freaking out over, whether a person's a criminal or not. And God forbid somebody's, that person's mother, who's also an illegal immigrant, is in there, and they, God forbid they push her to the ground or something, or whatever the case may be. And it hurts her as well, because at the end of the day, everybody looks like an idiot after you do something like that. So that's the problem. They're trying to make this as safe as possible, but instead what they're doing is they're making it even more and more dangerous for ICE officials to do their job. And also it makes it more and more dangerous for the illegal immigrants that do get captured, that aren't necessarily criminals, but are, women, children, whatever the case may be. So asylum seekers.
Yeah, well, understood. Well, I have a few more clips in this segment here. I want to bring up this pick here that's going on in Trenton on Monday. I know Jack and Constance are going to it. I would go. I mean, this is a Take Back New Jersey rally. Make your voices heard against 3 radical legal immigration bills. And these bills it's a Safe Communities Act, which is 6308 and S5036 already signed. So what it is, it requires the Attorney General to create model policies for places like schools, healthcare facilities, shelters, etc., about interactions with a federal civil immigration enforcement. So basically, it turns everyday institutions into enforcement dead zones, meaning less deterrence, more confidence in New Jersey, and safe destination after illegal entry. So more strain on services, schools, ERs, shelters, already under pressure, can carry more load when the policy environment encourages inflow and discourages removal. That's what it is. It's a bad thing. It's inviting them to stay here and makes more people want to come, because Cheryl signed the executive order, but executive order only lasts until the next government gets in and changes it. But when it gets passed to Assembly and Senate, then it's in law, and that's going to be a big problem, because once that happens, I guarantee you the federal government is going to cut funding from the state, and it's going to affect the midterms, because every Democrat is going to say, hey, well, we had to raise your property taxes. We had to raise the gas tax. We had to raise the sales tax. We had to raise the tolls because the federal government took money from us. Now, well, I mean, although they should, because you're not following federal law, but people are going to vote on that. People vote with their wallets, and they're like, oh, the federal government did this. Oh, no, and they're going to vote Democrat. And I see it coming. I really do.
Well, I unfortunately am not going to be able to make it to this event due to prior obligations. But there is something I want to say real quick, Damon. If I could just take 2 minutes real quick to talk about something involving this event. So the gentleman that is leading this charge is Assemblyman Paul Knitra, who, if I remember correctly, is
coming up.
Yep. So. The Assemblyman for District 10. And I just want to share a personal story that I haven't told people about Mr. Paul Knitra, just to tell you, who he is as a person and who he is as a man. Damon, there's a lot of people I'm sure that you and I have both met in the entirety of New Jersey and the New Jersey Republican political scene. And a lot of these people, they have their noses in the air. They think that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. They think that they're going to win in a area where it hasn't been won in over 50 years because they think that, they're the next big thing, or whatever the case may be. Paul Knitra is not that. He is one of the most down-to-earth human beings I have ever met in this entire political atmosphere. It doesn't surprise me at all that he is in there in Trenton and he is fighting against these bills, because that's who Paul is. I'll just give you an example real quick, a little story. When the Turning Point Action New Jersey chapter was starting up, and I was working with Heather Torno to try to get everything up and running, and making that Facebook group and stuff like that, Paul Knitra was actually, I believe, the first assemblyman in the entire state of New Jersey on the Republican side that personally reached out to me and Heather and said, hey, if there's anything I can do to help you guys to get this off of the ground, let me know 100%. And since then, and then after that, meeting him in person and getting to know who he was and, how much of a family man he is, Paul, he's an amazing, amazing individual. And I have the absolute honor of calling him a friend. And, Paul, if you're watching this, man, you're the man. And, I'm praying for you every single day because you're the number one fighter in New Jersey right now, as far as I'm concerned. So thank you for everything that you're doing, Assemblyman.
Right. And couldn't say it better. I think he may be our next governor. You never know.
God, I hope so. He's a great man. He'd be a great governor.
I will definitely have him on this show sooner rather than later. So I want to play this next clip, and let's roll this one. I was at Norcross Town Hall meeting. I asked a question. I made a statement about different things, and then I asked a question. So basically, the statement was that New Jersey feels like a prison because Norcross was boasting about the anchor rebate. Does everyone get their anchor rebate? Yeah, I'm like, well, in my mind, I'm thinking, don't take it to begin with. It's a bait and switch. then the rebate. You're taking, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out in the air numbers. You're taking 3,000 from us and you're handing us 1,000 back. But here, look what we gave you, and then that's what it is. And I brought it up about us being a sanctuary state and how we pay $7.3 billion a year, just New Jersey, through our state taxes for illegal immigrants. There's over 900,000 of them here. And the guy, he went on a bunch of different things that I mentioned, but he said, you got to check your numbers, and I'll get to it after. Let's watch this. It's Assemblyman Spearman here after I ask him the question.
Housing costs are too high, and our rents are too high, and part of that rent problem has to do with another national issue where you had organizations who are deliberately driving up the cost of rents. And the last Attorney General actually had joined a suit nationwide against those organizations to keep them from colluding to raise rents to as high as the market would support. So that addresses, I think, most of your 7 issues. The one thing that I would be careful with is that $7.3 billion number that you have. I'm not sure where that comes from, and I'll be happy. Sylvia and Vaughn of my office are right over there, where the blue sign. We'll be happy to talk to you about that, but I'd be very careful about your sources of information, because sometimes, in fact, there's Sylvia, because sometimes, let's just say there are sources that give inaccurate information. So I'd really like to explore that $7.3 billion number. If it was that simple, we would do it, no question. If there was $7.3 billion sitting around and we can just give it back to taxpayers, I'd do it tomorrow. I just don't know that is a fact.
Hey, Derek, let me follow up with that.
I was Norcross going to follow up with something. It didn't really say much. I'll cut more clips of that in following episodes. But yeah, obviously he said, I just don't know if that's a fact. No, you should know if it's a fact, because anywhere you look, you can find it. It's a fact. And I'm going to roll this next. I'm going to roll these next 2 clips actually. And he was in this Senate hearing. Not Senate hearing. I'm sorry. It was an Assembly hearing. It was in Trenton when Paul Kenitra was talking about these things. He was there. This was prior to that town hall. So he heard him say it too. Now I've been saying this for 8 months, and when I heard Paul Kenitra say it, I was like, oh, I've been saying this for a long time. At least somebody's paying attention. And so, but he heard him say it, so he knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
But he still said, I'll be very careful. Okay. So let's roll these other clips and you can talk about it.
Let's say you're a criminal illegal alien. You're here. They're investigating.
I'm sorry, but there are no illegal aliens. There are individuals that are undocumented.
You can say whatever talking point you want, but if you come in here illegally, If you come here illegally and you commit a misdemeanor on your first coming into the country or a felony on your second coming into the country, you are technically illegal. Now, I understand that semantics matter and everything on those lines, but you are here illegally. Just like if you murder someone, you are a murderer.
Well, you're attaching the word criminal to that, though.
But let's get back to the point here.
The Chairman, is, I came to testify and answer one quick question.
Let's not go off the rails. I have a very pointed
I'm not going off the rails.
But we answered your question.
Mr. Kenitra, you need to get to the question.
Whatever you want to call the individual, whatever semantics work for pandering to.
I love this guy. I do. And then we'll just roll this next clip too, where
we issued a comprehensive 24-page report after I went down to the border, went down to the Mexican border, and saw firsthand how our blue state policies were literally incentivizing people in Latin America to come across the border because they knew if you come to New Jersey, you're going to be safe. You're not going to have any fear of being sent back home. You're going to get all these benefits. And we quantified in a $56 billion budget that $7 billion of it, directly or indirectly, was the result of illegal immigration. And that went statewide. It went national.
$7 billion?
Yeah, $7 billion.
Out of a $56 billion budget.
I said it first, Paul. I've been saying this for like 8 months. But he mentioned that in that hearing there when he was talking, they kept cutting him off, and he so I just wanted to play that part too. But he did mention, so Spearman was there, so bullshit. He's like, check your numbers. Where I'd never heard of that before. Yeah, you did because you were there.
Can I tell you a story real quick? I don't know if I ever told you this for your viewers, a little bit of context, but you had mentioned earlier about the anchor program and the rebate checks and stuff like that. Well, I got a personal story for you. A lot of people don't know this, but back in 2023, I used to work for a company, right, that was contracted to work for the state of New Jersey specifically to handle the anchor program and the senior freeze program. Now, obviously, it has been 3 years. A lot of these things could have changed. But let me go ahead and tell you a little bit of the inside real quick of exactly what was going on as far as that is concerned. So first off, Damon, I don't know if you know this, but not only can property owners get an anchor check in particular, but also renters can get an anchor check. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
At the time, I believe it was $500 that they could get back. And you know what the craziest part about that is? When you went and you submitted that you were a renter, you did not have to provide a lease.
Really? So anybody, I could just say, my wife can just go submit something right now, says she rents here because the house is in my name.
So real quick, to answer that question, let me clarify some things real quick here. I want to add more to this. So on top of that, the year that I got into there, they started doing direct deposit for these checks, okay? The way that the system works is that when you put one application in, you cannot process another application, which means if you put in a renter's application, you can't put another renter's application. If you put a homeowner's application in, you can't put a renter's application in, and vice versa. So do you know what was happening? People were making Chime accounts because Chime gives you a banking account number and a checking account number. Or excuse me, a routing number and an account number, which means that you could hook it up for direct deposit. What was going on was criminals were getting people's information, right, doing these applications for them, right, as renters, not knowing that they're homeowners, and would put the renters' applications in, right, with their Chime account to basically try to steal the money from these people. Does that make any sense?
Well, yeah, it makes sense what the scheme was. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, of course, because it's anything the government touches is shit.
And then what would happen is, especially, and I've had this happen multiple times, where somebody would ask, "Hey, where's my anchor check?" I would go to check it. They'd be a homeowner, but they would have a renter's application pending because somebody was trying to submit their information, trying to collect their money, even though it was $1,000 less, because it's easier to prove a homeowner than it is a renter, especially when you don't have to provide the lease. So basically, long story short, the anchor program, if you really think about it, is a redistribution of wealth.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, there's always something to these programs. And that's why when I asked my question, I said, New Jersey feels like a prison. I said, because you tax the hell out of the middle class, you're hollowing out the middle class, and you're taking money and giving it to people that either don't deserve it or welfare. Some people do deserve help, but it's criminal of what people are doing. They're stealing money, and everyone knows that. People are able-bodied to work, and it doesn't matter. No one checks on them or anything like that. I go to work every day. I pay a ton of taxes, and I got a huge mortgage. But then somebody across the street with the low-income housing has the same size house and everything I have, and pays a quarter of what I pay. So it's all a rip-off, and it's a scam. So I told him, I said, New Jersey feels like a prison. And you know why? I said, because you're taxing hardworking people out of their homes. You're making it too expensive to live here. And if they want to move out of state, then you're going to tax them on the way out. So it's like, no, you can't leave. It's like locking the door on you.
Exactly.
And so that was part of the main question that I asked. And Norcross was supposed to answer. It was directed to him, but then Spearman took it over. And then Norcross stepped in and said some other things. But I'm going to use those clips for later episodes. But yeah, man, it is. It's just, it can't be a sanctuary state. I don't know why people don't see it. I know everyone that I know, people I work with, people in the trades, they look at it. They're like, well, why are we like the second class citizens when you're treating non-citizens first class? It's all about them. I tell them all the time, it's about the votes. They want to keep them here. They want to keep them here to vote. That's the biggest thing. Same thing with the SAVE Act. Why do you think Democrats are against the SAVE Act? Because they know that it's going to require ID.
And I hate to say it, Damon, but I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but if they're going to get the SAVE Act through, they need to nuke the filibuster because Democrats are not going to pass it through the Senate. It's not going to happen.
I hear you there. So, all right, we'll see. But all right, we're going to take another quick break. We're going to go on Hammer 3 after this.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Jersey Shore Podcast. This is Hammer 3.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network.
There. Oh, someone hit a button by accident. Sorry about that. So this is U.S. Doomsday-Democrats. So basically, doomsday for the United States equals Democrat rule. And the Democrats are ruining this country. And I'm sorry. I mean, there's no way that you can get around it. I know there are some moderate Democrats out there. You got people like John Fetterman. Fetterman, he was a big shock to me. But he's got common sense. So I'm not talking about him. I'm not talking people that voted for him. I'm not talking about I'll call them the Reagan Democrats. But the far left ones that are empowered and only care about being in power. They don't care what happens to this country. They're ruining it. They're going to ruin this country because energy ideology versus energy reality, pretty much. Let's say they're trying to think about what I want to say about this. I mean, if you look at the socialism, look at Madani, okay, and he's going to be taxing the rich, and a lot of people are going to move it out. He's going to kill that city. If you look at California, across the bottom of the screen, you can see part of the breaking news. You have Steven Spielberg, big-time liberal, moving out of California because taxes are too high. So they're trying to redistribution of wealth. So when you do that, and Blake, this, I'm just saying for the listeners, you make me, someone like me or you, let's say, well, why am I going to work every day and busting my butt? And when you're going to stick your hand in my pocket and hand it to somebody else, it stops, any kind of merit, any kind of innovation, because I know you got some good things going on with the new startup thing that you have going, but I would think, in the back of your mind, like, well, hey, I'm creating this thing here and I'm going to get hammered for doing it. And they're going to take my money and give it to somebody else that didn't work as hard as I did.
I think so. First off, it has been proven time and time again throughout history that when you go ahead and you tax the millionaires, but whatever you want to call them, the billionaires, when you go ahead and you tax them so much and try to remove as much wealth out of them as possible, they're either going to relocate or they're going to leave the country in general, right? It never works. It's never worked in history. It's never worked once. And then what ends up happening is the middle class and the people there, because the economy's not churning, the economy's not moving, the economy stops there, and then everybody goes in the local economy, and then everybody goes into poverty, right? I mean, that's basic economics. Everybody knows about that. I do think, personally, Damon, that we do have we have a wealth discrepancy issue. I'm not going to sit here and say we don't, because we definitely do, but that's not the way you fix it. That's not the way that you fix it at all. And quite frankly, the people that are living there, the billionaires and millionaires, I don't think they're necessarily the problems, more than I think some of these, these private hedge funds, for example, that are, collecting all this money for for God knows what. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it too. I'm going to play a quick clip that a great producer put together in a second. But I mean, there's soft on crime policies too. It's like, I believe you commit the crime, you do the time. But if they're going to let these people out of prison and have the cashless bail and all that, you see what's going on. I mean, society is tanking because of that reason. I mean, you have guys stabbing girls on the neck with trains and just randomly.
Which is awful.
Yeah, and this is all Democrat policies. That's what they believe in. I don't get it. I don't understand how people can vote for them. So, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's just have open borders and have legal immigrants that are criminal histories and kill women like Laken Riley and Jocelyn Ngori, or the poor girl on a train that wasn't a legal immigrant, but still the guy should have been, he was arrested like 50 times, and they keep letting him out. I mean, it's a problem all around. They're a soulless party, and that's what it is. So I'm not saying everybody that's a Democrat is that. There are Reagan Democrats, like I said before, but it's just like, how could you keep voting for the same kind of stuff when they trash this country? And I don't think they even love this country half the time. I don't know. It's horrifying to me. I can't believe that we have a whole entire party that is like this.
I think the Democrats. I also think big tech is another avenue that do this. I've been noticing, Damon, in the last 20 years that it just seems like a lot of these big names and these big businesses and whatever the case may be, they're trying to extract as much wealth as they can out of America and then run with it, because it just feels like to me that they think that America is going to collapse or whatever the case may be. It's just, I don't know. That's a story for another day, I think. But yes, I agree with you. Every policy that the Democrats have passed have done nothing but backfire. Most of their policies have been done before, and because they've been done before, they did not work, we never went back to them. But then on top of that, we have an issue where our children are not being taught actual history and the consequences of history. So because of that, they go ahead and they repeat the same mistakes.
No, you're right about that. But maybe it's because, social media is a big deal. I think it plays a big hand in this too, and education plays a big hand in this as well. So I'm going to play a clip here for a congresswoman that was elected that I wish the clip is actually a lot longer than this, out the ums, and then that she couldn't even know how to answer the question. This was AOC when she was in Munich. I added a little something to the side of it from the Trump debate with Biden. Now he'd looked at Biden like, what the hell did he just say? So we just put it side by side. So her clip is actually longer as her him and hawing and not being able to answer a question. But I think it was pretty funny. So my producer put it together. So thank you for that. So let's roll this.
I think that this is such a, I think that.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
That was Trump from the Biden debate when he was just rambling on. But like I said,
I remember that. Yeah.
It was funny. He was looking at him like this. He's like, what's he saying? And that was his response. But it made me think of it when I heard her go into that word salad that made Kamala Harris look like a scholar. I mean, it was like a good 20, 22 seconds of, they were asking her about, they asked her about if China invades Taiwan, do you think the United States should send troops over there? And she just, I don't know if she knew who Taiwan was. And then she got into talking about, what was that? Now I'm drawing a blank. Guys, I sound like her. but no, it's Maduro. She was talking about Maduro, and she said that we shouldn't have went in and got him. She said we shouldn't be dealing with countries that are south of the equator. I'm like, they're not south of the equator. So
she doesn't know her geography, or else she would know that Ecuador is on the equator and Venezuela is, farther north than Ecuador. So,
so again, that's what I was saying. But I I forgot exactly what she said, but she was talking about Maduro and all that stuff. And then she said, "Yeah, people south of the equator we shouldn't be involved in those countries." And I, for a second, I didn't think. I'm like, they're not. What's she talking about? But that clip right there shows you she doesn't know. Now, I stumble once in a while too, but at least I capture myself back. I'm just bad with names sometimes. But if I was asking a serious question like, should the United States intervene and send troops there, I would say, well, it would depend on what was going on. It depends on if there was a full-on invasion. No, they're our ally, Taiwan. So, yeah, we have to protect them. And of course, we would help out. We would send troops there. We would send planes there, send ships there, whatever it be. But she didn't know how to answer because...
Not to mention that Venezuela basically, keep in mind something, Venezuela basically collapsed. And technically you had a government, but the reality was you had cartels running that thing left, right, up and down and beyond.
Of course.
So you had tons and tons and tons and tons of drugs and weapons and whatever you can think of coming out of Venezuela through Central America, through Mexico into the United States. So it was a national security threat from the get-go. Not to mention the fact that they could just cross the Gulf of America, onto our shores and do whatever the heck they want. So it definitely was our problem. It's not like it's the Middle East or wherever where something happened very, very far away that we don't necessarily have control over. So it's in our hemisphere.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I got before we go into the four segments is a very quick one. It's the Patriot and Loser Award of the week. But I just wanted to ask you real quick. Did you see Marco Rubio's speech over there?
In Venezuela or?
No, it was in Munich.
No.
Over in Europe. That's where she was. It was in Munich too.
Oh.
You got to. Yeah, she is trying to run for president, and that's why she's trying to go over here and get her foreign policy in order, which didn't work out. But anybody's listening, if you didn't see Marco Rubio's speech, it was Reagan-esque.
Did you see that poll, by the way? I just want to clarify something. Did you see that poll that went out there on who Democrats would pick to become the next president of the United States? And the leading candidate, I believe it was by 30% or 33%, was Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I saw that.
Somebody who we haven't heard from since the 2024 election. The Democrats want to make it's just like, come on now. Really?
I wish I was in a room when Gavin Newsom read it.
Gavin doesn't know what to do. He's here, she's running for governor. Now he's here, she's running for president. He's all confused.
Yeah. But yeah, you got to check out that Rubio speech, man. It was like it was good, probably about 20 minutes, but and then it was Q&A afterwards. But it was really good. I mean, he made a lot of good points to the Europeans, talking about where we are their children, pretty much. He said, yeah, and not in that way, but he said we came from you. We didn't, and then I'm not going to give it away. You got to watch it.
I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a very Reagan-esque speech. So, all right. So we're going to take another quick break and go into last Hammer segment here.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up. Because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. But America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. The New Jersey State House Watch, hosted by Jack Brangan and Constance Detzel. APN's The Pulse is moderated by either Alexandra, Damon, Elena, or Seth. Also tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Join the revolution. because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We have this last quick segment here with the Patriot of the Week Award and the Loser of the Week Award. So, Blake, I want to roll the Patriot of the Week Award.
The Jersey Shore Podcast presents this week's Patriot Award. It goes to Maximus Galdo.
That's our new dog that we just got a few weeks ago. One that I wasn't prepared for, but my wife and daughter wanted one very badly. And I said, I don't know if I need anything extra in my life right now, but they've been asking for a long time. So we found named him Maximus Decimus Meridius, like from the Gladiator. So we call him Max. So
that's funny.
So favor give him the Patriot of the Week Award. So he doesn't know that yet. I hope we'll be happy. I'm sure.
I taught him how to wear a cape and run through the house too. That's incredible.
So and our producer here, great producer, he said he has a surprise for the Loser Award, and he didn't tell me what it's going to be, what he's going to put up there. So I'm curious what it is. So let's roll that one.
The Jersey Shore Podcast presents this week's Loser Award. It goes to
Losers! 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 Oh, shut up!
I like it.
I'm surprised he said that was a surprise. I would have bet 20 bands on that.
yeah. I didn't know. I know he was cutting some stuff in. I didn't know what it was going to be, but that was pretty good. So when we found that South Park thing from like last year or whatever it was, they put it in there. I think it's funny as heck. So, but all right, well, Blake, listen, actually, before you go and tell people where they can find you and what's going on with your turning point stuff, whatever, I just want to bring up one thing. This is Pennies in Action, and you're welcome to come. It's a fundraiser. It's for cancer research. Now, this Pennies in Action raises money. These events raise money for this cancer research by Dr. Zernicki, and it's immunotherapy, dendritic cell immunotherapy. So it's not chemo or anything like that. So basically what they do is they take the patient's own immune system, and they make it a cocktail out of it, make it like and then they inject it back into them. Like almost like what he told me, the doctor, he said basically it's like injecting like a nuclear bomb of your own immune system into you. And it fights the cancer, because the cancer, it learns faster, it works faster in your immune system, so it'll attack it. But if you put, let's say your immune system on steroids injected into you, then your own immune system will tackle the cancer before it learns. And this is something that I ran into with Steve DiOrio. He invited me to it. So this event is coming up on April 18th. This one is in Malvern, PA. But usually they'll have it on the Vineland every year as well. But my sister has stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, and I got her into this trial treatment, and it's working. So that's the beauty of it. So I always want to put it up here and promote the heck out of it. So, and then I got to go into the candidates too that I've been working with, 2026 candidates that are throughout the state. I call it the coalition. So we have Murphy for U.S. Senate. So that's Justin Murphy, everybody right there. Everyone has a QR code there to get to their website. Justin Murphy's a great guy, and he's running for U.S. Senate. So check him out. Next will be, who's that guy? Damon Galdo for Congress. So anybody, I'm going to just say this to everybody that's listening right now or watching right now. go to that website right there first to donate, and then everybody else, because I'm in the D10 plus.
Damon, fun fact for those that don't know, Damon actually got that exact picture on camera from a helicopter over the Wall River Bridge.
So, all right, we got the next one. We got
Jeff Andrew.
Andrew, yeah, he's got it, man. He's got it in the bag, but still, everyone get out there and vote for him. Don't sit home and think that he's definitely going to win. I mean, he will win if everyone gets out to vote like they usually do in his district. But Andrew's the man. So, all right, next one. Go to Jason Cullen in 3. Who's coming up? I think so. In a second. I think there he goes. There's Jason Cullen right there in Jersey's 3rd district. Jason's a good guy. He's been on the podcast multiple times. You can go to his website. You'll learn all about him. He's got plenty of videos out there, so you guys can check him out. So Jason Cullen right there.
Got a lot of friends supporting him.
And then Chris Smith. So Chris, I haven't really talked to you that much. I want to get in touch with him more and then have him really join our group. But Chris, he's the guy that's running right now in 4th district. So check him out. I looked him up. We had a conversation, but I just didn't, he didn't join us in our group yet with our Zoom call. But Hillary Herzig, she did. She's pretty badass, man. She's a tough woman. When we were talking about a bunch of different things, like she was just hammering stuff away. And these are all people like that where we came together and we've decided the Republican Party needs to help each other out. Because our blue state, but we're so close to tipping red. It's just that the Republicans need to stick together and help each other out, and that's what the goal. My goal was to bring all these people together. So, next one. Tom Keene Jr. Everyone knows him, the incumbent. So he should win as long as everyone gets out to vote for him again. So there's Tom Keene, everyone, and Tiffany Burris for Congress. She's another one that was part of our group in that Zoom call. We all talked about different things. That's actually Plexico Burris's wife, played for the Giants. She has to know by now that I'm an Eagles fan. So,
I've heard a lot of great things about her too.
But all right, and we got the next one here. Carmen Bucco. So everyone knows who Carmen Bucco is. He's a great guy. Check him out on his website. Just go to everyone's platform here, and every single one of their websites, and look what they stand for. So let's go next one. That's Joe Hathaway. This is the special election for Cheryl's seat. So I have not spoken to him, but I want to put him up there because I don't know when is that special election? Is it in April? This is Mikey Cheryl's seat.
I'm not sure. I know they just posted something about it on the New Jersey website. I'd have to see. Hold on a second.
Yes, you can check it out, and then we'll go to the next one here. This will be Greg Mealy. Greg's a great guy, part of our group as well. We're all working together, trying to flip New Jersey red and get this state on the right track. So,
yeah, April 16th for Congressional District 11. Yeah, for the special election. But if I'm not mistaken, even if he were to win or lose that election, the seat is still up in November. So the person that gets elected is only going to have 7 months, in the seat before they gotta go out and do it all over again. So
yeah. So all right. So other than that, Blake, anything you want to say to anybody before we cut off here?
No, that's pretty much it. Damon, thank you very much for having me on. For those that want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at Blake_PRZY. You can also reach out to me via email at BelmarRepublicans@gmail.com if there's anything you want to send me. And that's pretty much it for the most part. We also have our I'm also now a state committeeman for Turning Point Action in the state of New Jersey. And if you would like to join that group, you can look us up on Facebook, TP Action New Jersey. We have over 15,000 members, and we're growing every single day. So
all right. Blake, Blake, thank you for coming on. Everyone that's out there that's listening, go to votedamongaldo.com, and you can see my platform there. Anyone that's listening probably knows what I'm about already, but I got to ask you to click on the donate button. I'm going up against the juggernaut and the Norcross machine, who already has millions of dollars. And I know a lot of people look at it in a way where it's almost winless. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very hard. But I'm going to put everything I have into it. I promise you that. So thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll sign off for the night. Blake, again, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, as always, brother.
Thank you, Damon.
All right.
Have a good one, everybody.
The Hammer thanks you for watching tonight's Jersey Shore podcast. See you at the next packed show, from breaking news to topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified of upcoming episodes. If you like what The Hammer talked about, then share the Jersey Shore podcast to others. Damon also looks forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Yeah. This one's for New Jersey. For every working family that's had enough. Name's Damon Galdo. And I'm just getting started. Job site dust to the streets of the shore. Steel-toed boots, yeah, I know what I'm working for. Middle class hurting, every bill going up. While suits in D.C. say, man, just trust us. I'm a builder by trade, put my sweat in the ground. Now I'm building up hope for my hometown. Jersey's my home, blue-collar soul. I don't make excuses, I get it done, that's all I know. I felt the pressure, I've lived that grind, trying to give your kids a better life. I won't forget where I came from, man, cause I'm built by work. I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. Not a career man who forgot what hard work means. They talk real big, but nothing ever changes. While Jersey keeps drowning in the same old pain, I'll build a future strong for our kids in this land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah. Don't know across, been there year after year. Same old story while the struggle's still here. Claims he's for workers, but look around town. Rent sky high, grocery bills breaking us down. Where's the relief for the middle class grind? Cause all I see is folks falling behind. I ain't got decades in some DC chair. I got skin in the game, cause my family's here. Time, they had their shot, and tell me, Jersey, what have we got? It's time for change, time for a stand, time for a work, and not another plan, not another plan, not another plan. Yeah! I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. Not some suit who sold you fantasy. We waited long enough, it's time to demand a future built by honest hands for Jersey strong, for this great land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah, this ain't left, this ain't right. This is fight for what's right. For every mom working double shifts, every dad praying they don't miss. I'm running for my kids, running for yours, for a state that deserves so much more. Not talk, that's the plan. Let's build it back with a working man. For our children's dreams, for a better way. I'll fight for Jersey every day. No empty words, I'll take the stand, cause I'm built by work. Yeah, I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. While the old guard keeps playing the same old game. But we're done with waiting, done with excuses. It's time for a man who knows how to do this. I build a future strong for our kids in this land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. New Jersey 1st District. If you're tired of the talk and ready for work, walk with me. Galdo, Galdo. Galdo, Galdo. Galdo, Galdo. Make the crowd chant with no music.